Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Debate Hub. I've got Sam and Matt with me today. I'm excited. We're going to talk about marketing. We were getting distracted in the background talking about politics and how short I am before the show started. Please forgive me.
Both important issues.
How are both of you? How are you doing? Your ring lighting looks good.
Hey, it worked.
Huzzah! How are you? How you doing? You had puppy day.
Everything's the best.
I had puppy day, and that's the one thing that is getting me through this. Let's call it an epoch, I guess, a new era. So, salute.
to the future. So today we're here to talk about how evil marketing is, because admittedly we biased the title a little bit, because there's like a degree of manipulation, I think, that goes into like multimedia marketing. Specifically, I have one example that I want to present and then let you guys sort of break it down for me. There is a ad that I used to see on a very regular basis that was for Pampers diapers. And they were basically saying, if you love your baby, you want them to have the best comfort, so you buy Pampers. My interpretation of it is, if you don't buy Pampers, you don't love your baby. So how right am I? How wrong am I? What's the lowdown on that kind of language and presentation?
I mean, it got you to think that, right?
Yeah, I thought about it.
Hey, then they won.
I guess. I don't have a kid, I mean, so...
You've already made the association, right?
Sure.
They don't have to do it for you. You've already completed the loop.
So it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if I think negatively about it or positively about it. The point is that I used a brain cell.
You filled in the blank.
But though, is that their intention, or like what?
One could even argue that the marketing was so effective that you just brought it up on the stream right now.
I did talk about Pampers, and I did mention them by name. This is true. This is true.
Not a sponsor.
Non-sponsor.
Yeah. I mean, unless I ship the bed on this call, in which case I might need adult rovers. But no, we're trying to get in your head. I mean, the fact that you have thought of it, with more than a passing glance, means that it worked. You know, when you think of diapers, your first thought now, besides shit and babies, might be Pampers.
Yeah. I mean, you got to understand and think about marketing in general too. It's not necessarily just the fact that it's a tool, because it is, but it's also who you're dealing with, and people are people, and people lead with emotions. So that Pampers thing works that way because of that is a thing that is basing on your emotion of love. So if you want to, it at the same time is also brushing up against fear, because it's like, if you're doing the wrong thing, if you're buying the wrong thing, then it's like, I need to really go out and do this. And next thing you know, it's just compulsive.
Yeah. I mean, if you can snag a new parent who are all terrified, by the way, you have them for the rest of their kids. Unless your product really sucks and is proven to be bad, you'll get them back, even if it's mediocre. That loyalty, hell, even if it's bad and they don't care. Fuck, Pampers is just a brand that they know. It's a brand that they see everywhere. It's a brand they see on billboards. It's on shelves.
Every parent you get, that's 18 years of Pampers you're getting right there.
That's a lot. That's to be
all the way up till college.
They can buy their own. I think they're legally allowed to buy their own at that point.
But they're still buying.
You need a license.
So walk me through the thought process. So like, the first idea is what's the concept? Is the concept just, it doesn't matter what the person thinks, the point is that they think?
It depends on...
Yeah, it depends. Marketing is very... Yeah, you got to be really specific about what the product is, or the audience is, where you're allowed to market it. There's so many rules and regulations to it, but also unspoken and unregulated rules that go to so many different things. So marketing's whole thing is just to figure out who your audience is and how you can get away with getting them to purchase whatever it is, or believe, or do whatever it is you're trying to get them to do.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Marketing is more than just a tool. It's also like a set of wrenches, right? It's not one size fits all. You need to really pick what you want to use for a given situation, because there's a difference between building awareness and driving engagement. Those are two very different metrics that you want to track, and to get to the place you want to get with those, you might want to focus on different things in your advertising. Like Matt said, you're really looking to hit pathos a lot of the time when you market, right? Fear is a huge factor today when you're looking at emotion, right? Fear, anger, those drive a lot of engagement. If you want to drive awareness, people like to talk about things they're angry about. But then again, they also like to talk about things they believe in. They like to spread, if your movie is so good, word of mouth is huge. Even if it's a fucking coworker telling you, oh my God, dude, you got to see this anime. It's super sick. That may make you less likely to see it depending on the coworker, but it depends. Word of mouth is still, in my opinion, and I think probably by metric too, the greatest source of marketing you can possibly have. Because it's not coming from the brand, it's coming from someone you actually trust.
Do you think
Social
that's... Yeah. Do you think that social media has expanded that more than contracted it?
I think
I asked a good
media,
question. I got both of them. Yeah, no. Matt, please, go ahead.
Social media in general, it's excellent because it allows a lot of companies, specifically, so much to do with it, because it allows them to control a lot of the bandwidth of it. They can also test and demonstrate whatever they want within it, and at the same time, like if you're trying to understand people and the things that they care about and how they describe things, you're probably going to just, if you just track memes alone, you can understand, you can track the emotions of people, and to that end, that's how a lot of those companies that are big in social media kept virality. Because once they understood it, they didn't have to do anything about it. They could just manufacture.
Interesting. Gate kept virality. So would that be like the if you were to break that down, would you?
Yeah.
Could you give me an example?
Yeah, sure. So let's see. The mid 2010s, you got your big hitters back then: BuzzFeed, HuffPost, Vox, Condé Nast, that kind of stuff. They would, there were numerous factors. They, one, had the ability to test so many things, so they would A/B test headlines until they found out exactly which ones were laser focused, guaranteed to work.
So that's where you get like your clickbait titles.
So like if I have an idea between a couple things, I'll send one to Sam, I'll send one to you, and whichever one clicks fastest, I know that's the winner. And I just do it a million times a day. And on top of that...
You do.
Top 10, the old school top 10.
You do, and you're not even 2000s. A company. You send me shit all the time.
I do. And on top of that, there's also the backroom deals. So you get a lot of these companies that also work with Facebook and such, where they'll just be like, yeah, okay, you get preferential treatment. We're going to boost your stuff. So now it's less, hey, I'm just a random person who wanted to put a video out. I'm going to try to go viral, versus someone else who actually is hooked up. And they get the laser focus algorithm, they get the hookup from whatever it is, and also those platforms in general cater to mainstream things just in general, because it's not even a conspiracy, it's just in their best interest. Right. So the system isn't made for every single person to be like, yeah, I'm going to just make a cool video and do what everyone else is doing.
It's a little bit disillusioned,
it's a club.
Right? Yeah. It's a little bit disillusioned.
It's disingenuous.
Like, there's a degree to the internet, and maybe I'm wrong about this, and I'll let Sam jump in, is that this idea of like this wild, wild west internet sort of misses one of the points of the wild, wild west, in that there were gangs that literally controlled what was going on, whether the gang be legal or not legal.
Well, gang is sort of an understatement, because there were corporations. You had corporations with monopolies, pre-antitrust, that owned fucking everything. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of the way it is now. Look at Meta. Look at Alphabet, you know?
Right.
That's kind of the way it is. regulation be damned, it's going away. Shit just kind of happens in that realm. To kind of expand on Matt's previous point, though, in terms of social media, sort of working with word of mouth, it does and it doesn't. Because now, as someone who works for a firm, you're targeting in social media not only trying to do your own posts, you're also targeting influencers, macro and micro influencers, and that sort of barrier can vary depending on the platform. But you are planning to sort of reach out to these people and be like, "Hey, advertise our thing." Because if you align with someone who aligns with your own brand goals and what you're trying to sell, they can reasonably shill it out to their audience. That's the entire point of influencer relations in terms of brands.
Yeah.
You're trying to sell shit to their audiences, which trust them, right? They are easily influenced by said influencers and will buy what the influencer tells them to buy. Oh, use promo code Sam for 98% off on this set of dice. Wow, fucking discount. I pulled that number out of my ass, and not very good business. But
it's okay. Click back shiny math rocks. It needs more.
Click that shiny rocks. But the name of the game is reaching out to these people who align with your brand, right? And if you could do that and you're listening to your favorite influencer pitch something or talk about a movie, you are being advertised to.
Right.
And you may not even know it because you trust this person. You watch their streams all the time. You really enjoy the vibe that they bring to your dinner as you eat alone and watch them do their thing. You're being advertised to. Always. There's never a moment when you're not. If they could put ads in your dreams, they would. They probably will.
How do you think that has shifted over the years? Because there are rules that exist more now than there were rules before. Particularly the one that comes to my mind is the Ryan toy review, where they were ostensibly selling things to children without disclosing they were selling things to children, which in a lot of countries is a big no-no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is a thing now, right? You have to disclose whether or not sponsored content. You can see it on most social media platforms. But even with that, it's still... People know that influencers need to make a bag. You know, you're not going to earn it through Spotify streams alone. You know, you have to play the game, and people know that these days.
Spotify's not fair. Spotify super duper rips people off. Instead of just normal super ripping people off.
You can't use YouTube views alone to sort of sustain yourself because those could really ebb and flow. Money from sponsors, though, you play the game right. You talk to people correctly, and you're not various things I can't mention on this platform because of crime.
Because of crime?
Of a bad nature, of the unmentionable zone. There is, it's a sustainable way to make money. I mean, fucking Squarespace, BetterHelp, I think about Display has been what I've been seeing a lot recently. Factors everywhere. The fact that I'm even mentioning these brands mean that they have gotten into my head to the point where they're what I think about when I think about YouTube advertising.
It's already too late.
Yeah.
We've gone too far.
It's already too late. I have Factor. I ate a Factor meal this evening, and it wasn't actually that bad. This is a sponsor. Use code Sam at Factor for 25% off your first box.
I have seen Canadian companies get on board with the tariffs so goddamn fast. I have seen Pizza, which is a Canadian-owned pizza brand, saying, "Hey, listen, here's the code anti-tariff for 25% off a pizza purchase." And I'm just like, Jesus,
that's marketing.
Christ, it's so smart. It's so
it
makes my head
not made
spin.
with American cheese. Right? I've seen that one as an instance in Canada, right? Or them removing a bunch of shit made in the USA, or being proud that they're made in Canada, right? Nationalism is still a tactic. And in fact, it's a good tactic because it's pseudo-religious and preys upon your deepest sort of us versus them tribalism mentality, and you can package that and sell it. And it works. A lot of the time.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And additionally, it works really well because you have a hyper-targetable demographic that it appeals to, right? Canadians! Right. You know?
Well, and the Canadians are like, guess what? They're not going anywhere. You've got a captive audience. You're not going to suddenly not be Canadian. And even if you're not, that's still going to be a small portion. Especially when there's like a crisis going on. But Matt, what do you got for us? What are you thinking?
No, Sam nailed it. That's
ditto, he says.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking about like our title today of marketing is evil, and it's like, yeah, awesome. It's like it's not inaccurate. But you know, marketing's a tool at the end of the day.
It paints it in an unfair light. As somebody who does like a lot of PR styled stuff, where it comes to navigating somebody's like, how do you handle a crisis where people hate you? I've dealt with a lot of that kind of stuff, and in the same way that PR can equally be used for good or for evil, you can take like somebody who's a good person and get them out of trouble, but you can also take somebody who's a shit person and make them look like they're doing a good thing. And it's the same with marketing, because it like a good product or a bad product, right? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, you know, it being a tool, you know, like a scalpel is a tool. So, but I mean, you give it to someone who's trying to actively steal your organs, it's going to get evil fast. You know, so
stealing organs.
You know, it's
good choice.
It's inherently, it seems morally neutral, but it becomes predatory very quickly if when it's used to manipulate. And there are arguably some versions of marketing which there really aren't any other ways to use them other than in evil seeming,
sort of manipulatively
unethical ways to use them. You know, some funnels are evil. There's nothing you can do about it.
maybe I'm in the wrong, and please correct me, because again, this is not my forte. This is not what I'm familiar with. The thing that I find baffling about, and like maybe more on the problematic end of marketing, is the data collection. Like the analytical, like crazy amount of like just cutting and splicing and like micro analyzing. Like, are you a woman? Are you of this age? Are you married? Are you not married? And they have all this data and then like hyper target it. And the way they get that data is ethical ?
You signed the user agreement. So
you get to be part of the centipede, the human centipede of marketing.
Yeah. I mean, well, I work in what's called local tactical planning. It's my job. Essentially, I take data.
What does that mean?
I know it sounds like a nothing job. It kind of is. But I get paid for it.
It's like a mercenary
thing.
Yeah, local tactical planning. Your house, my gun, your body.
My choice.
My choice. Boom. Yeah. So what that essentially is I plan advertisements for TV, which is linear, right? It's sort of your classic. It's cable. It's broadcast. That's linear, and obviously it may seem like a dying piece of the media industry. It's not dying as fast as people think, but the amount of data we have on you motherfuckers would scare the shit out of you. It's a little absurd how granular you can get with your demographics, because we've been collecting it for decades. I mean decades. Companies like Nielsen have been doing it for like 80 years?
Nearly
70 years?
A century.
Yeah. They sent, and it wasn't even necessarily unethical. They would just send people surveys. It's like, you want to fill this out? Here's a box in your house that'll track what you watch. Take this survey.
Oh God.
You get a mouse pad.
Oh God.
Yeah, but now we know where you live. And,
Great.
What you like to watch, and that's just linear. You're talking digital. If you're talking digital, it's we like to call digital or CTV or connected TV addressable television, meaning addressable to you, the viewer, in whatever it is you watch.
Why does it
Because
sound
we
like
can
your
target
voice? Why are you sounding like there is no war in Bossing Say right now?
There is no war in Bossing Say.
No,
And I
yeah.
told you via marketing because you'd believe me. I have a believable face, right?
We know Sam. We trust Sam.
Chat, I do, yeah. Watching Severance was really enlightening for me.
Oh,
I did
no.
feel like I was doing macro dat refinement. The numbers do have an angry vibe to them.
They're aggressive. They're 7 eating 9.
They're very angry numbers.
Oh no. So how does this apply to like the indie scene? Because like we can talk about like EA Sports, it's in the game, and we can talk about how these affect like I don't think there's a whole lot of like mystery around like how Fox News built itself. I don't think there's a whole lot of mystery around like AAA gaming and like sort of when it's advertising and what it's trying to do. But as like a more indie or more like a more grassroots styled thing, like what's the shift there? Because I can only imagine that if you want to go from being indie and grassroots and you want to like get into mainstream, you sort of have to like do a little bit of that sellout thing.
I gotta hand guerrilla marketing over to Matt because this is sort of his bread
It's
and butter.
called guerrilla marketing.
To the two of us, it is. I don't know if that's a legitimate term.
No, but it is a legitimate term.
Okay, so all right, Matt. Please break it down for us. What is guerrilla marketing?
Well, guerrilla marketing is essentially when you are doing, in a lot of the cases that I actually like, is when you're going outside of the typical avenues of advertising. So. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but a long time ago in Boston, there was an electronic device somewhere in the city, and someone thought it was a bomb, so they made a huge deal about it. But really, it was just an Adult Swim Moonite guy from the show Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and that put the show on the map, and that was intentional.
I'm sorry, are you saying that, like, terrorism was marketing? Or is marketing? Or can be marketing?
9/11 was marketing for fucking Al Qaeda. What are you talking about?
You know
Terrorism
what?
is always marketing.
I'm making this face, but I literally said the same thing about Hamas. Not like 2 months ago. I was like, I mean, they got people's attention, didn't they? And it's like,
yes.
That was the goal. Good
God. Now I just use the term anytime I can for anytime you get to get creative about marketing or crossing over into different industries where no one else is doing the thing that you have an idea for. So I don't have any off the top of my head, unfortunately.
Sure.
I do, actually.
Go for it.
There you go.
I have a great example. Blair Witch Project.
Oh.
Master in guerrilla marketing. Crazy they essentially built an ARG from the ground up, had a sort of sketchy looking website that would take you through the steps of like the case of the Blair Witch. What happened to these people? They disappeared. What's going on? Then the film releases. The actors are like missing, right? They're not talking to anyone. They're like in quarantine essentially, and everyone thinks they're dead.
Right.
Blair Witch has one of the highest return on investments of any movie. Just flat out, period. Just by percentage. Horror is a brilliant example of a great avenue to use guerrilla marketing. Because horror, you can make it for dirt cheap. And then you get shit like Evil Dead, Blair Witch, Paranormal Activity. That just absolutely annihilates the box office. Because it's new, right? I mean, found footage just blew
I find
up
that horror is one of the
genre in the early
safest.
aughts.
Yeah, horror is one of the safest places to do innovation, and a lot of like film
and that's
making
why
and innovation comes from horror. Yeah,
and that's why big studios make so much shitty horror.
Yeah,
because they try to follow the trends way too late, and they fucking suck.
Okay, all right.
That too, and because horror is a date night movie, so you're automatically selling 2 tickets.
Right.
Amen.
Right. So let me see if I can give you an example and tell me if I'm understanding the concept. So would like the old radio show War of the Worlds be guerrilla marketing, where they're like, we're selling this story and we're selling this concept in a way, like in a unique way that is not only is it not standard to marketing, but also created a phenomenon.
I think that in that specific case, that was more of just groundbreaking. I don't think people were
like,
ready for
that
it.
was more like groundbreaking storytelling and not a marketing. Okay, so let me give you another example. Riot Games, when they came out with the champion, Seraphine, they gave the champions has a version. There's like the in-house like Riot lore version, and then there's the alternate skin, KDA. And KDA is like a pop star.
Oh yeah.
They then proceeded to give this pop star character her own social media account where she was interacting with fans and posting selfies that were art of her character. Which was...
If it hadn't been done before, yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, if you could also have someone just like, pop onto a random concert dressed as Seraphine or any of the other KDAs.
Well, they definitely did do that. They had like live concerts and animated concerts and all kinds of shit that went along with it. But like it was a unique way. So they got criticism for that because people were interacting. Like at one point, this account, which had a real person behind it, was talking about how stressed out they were and how hard it was to be a pop star and trying to break into the industry, and how they were like, at one point they went so far as to be like they were feeling suicidal. And it was just like, whoa! And then everybody went, maybe you went too far.
Yeah.
But it got people talking.
Mean, if they got the press for it, I don't know if it counts as guerrilla, but it's definitely effective.
Wendy's Twitter. Wendy's Twitter. Do you guys have opinions on Wendy's Twitter? That was getting into beefs with everyone.
It was groundbreaking. I mean, yeah. I would I call it guerrilla marketing? Maybe at the time, but I don't even know if I can say that because they weren't the first to do it. They're just probably the first most famous example. You know?
Sure.
Like social media marketing, I wasn't really new for the most part when they started doing that. It was just they sort of catapulted it because it was fucking Wendy's.
Yeah. But being groundbreaking isn't a requirement for it being guerrilla, right? Guerrilla is just like a...
Also, guerrilla marketing also sort of has a connotation of grassroots elements. Sure. So larger companies, I wouldn't really typically
wouldn't
apply
count,
guerrilla marketing.
Wendy's doesn't count, they're too big.
I would just say that's creative marketing. It's a creative application of marketing. Guerrilla marketing is like, I really hate to bring up this example like this. PETA does a lot of grassroots marketing in that, they dump blood on themselves and shit. Gets people talking, right? Because they're not trying to sell engagement, they're trying to sell awareness.
Right.
So a lot of the shit that they do, one of the projects I had to do in school for advertising was make an ad campaign for PETA. And what we ended up doing, meaning me, my group didn't do shit, was make missing posters for animals and say, like, have you seen me? I could be your purse. I could be your shoes. To, like, draw awareness to these animals. Me, I love meat. But that was a fun campaign to work on.
Funny.
Just collecting flyers like Pokemon cards.
Like...
Yeah. Gotta catch them all.
Yeah. The thing about guerrilla marketing is it needs the public to interact with it. That's
okay.
And the more you can do it cost effectively, the more effective it is. That's essentially the idea.
Right. So you can be a larger platform doing this, but it's harder and like less effective. Like, why would you when you could just dump a couple $1,000s into YouTube advertising, like Raid Shadow Legends?
Yeah, and you're also, as a big corporation, you're less believable. You're a corporation. People know you're a corporation, right? Mm-hmm. It's you're not a person to them. You may be in the eyes of the law, but to people, corporations are still corporations. You know, the whole image of the crab that's like silence brand, like that is a pretty big sentiment in the internet. People hate when brands talk to them like that. But smaller ones are able to maneuver that a bit easily because, one, either they're new to the scene, or two, they have a more devoted base of people who are like, okay, they might be a brand, but they stand for what I believe in. And that's good.
So one question that I would have is like, do you think it's like intentional when a larger brand kind of snuffs a smaller one? So, for example, Nintendo Switch 2 just dropped, right? And they did their whole Nintendo Direct thing. And they like tertiarily mentioned a shitload, and they were like, oh, this, boom, 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 boom. And one of those ones that they were just fast hitting, that these are all the ones that come, was Silk Song, which has know what I'm already talking about before I even got there.
Talking about.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Silk Song has it's Hollow Knight that has like a huge fan base. And so did you think it was intentional that Nintendo just tertiarily mentioned them because they knew that this fan base was going to lose their minds regardless of what they said?
Oh. So you're trying to rage bait someone in that case?
A little bit of rage baiting, but also a little bit of, listen, we're giving you a breadcrumb, and we're going to let you run with the breadcrumb instead of us spending the money to do the marketing for something that people were already interested in.
I mean, if Team Cherry, like, it's Nintendo, but you still have to kind of pay to feature your game. Team Cherry knew, no matter how the news broke, that r/Silksong was going to lose their collective shit, and it will be on the front page of Reddit for 3 days.
Right.
No matter what they did. So Team Cherry, Nintendo, I don't know. Team Cherry probably know, like, shit, just chuck it in there.
So you think Team Cherry...
They'll be like, whoa,
so you actually think Team Cherry benefits more than Nintendo is, and Nintendo's there's no snubbing actually going on.
Team Cherry could have put a single still image on their profile and said, fuck you, and it would have broke the internet.
Yeah,
and they would have won. They would have won, and it would have been fine, because people have been waiting for so long that Silksong has been essentially a circle jerk subreddit.
This is my conspiracy brain.
Is insane.
This is my conspiracy brain, because I'm just like, Game Freak makes Pokemon that are humanoid and female enough on purpose.
Probably. Why wouldn't they? Furries exist. Lopunny has thighs.
And they're thick.
And that's the zeitgeist right now. Thick thighs. It's marketable.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Is there a more mainstream, less terminally online example of this?
I'm not sure what we're talking about.
See, that's what I mean, right? Like me and Sam are terminally online. Is there like an example of, like, would Ronald McDonald count when they built like a whole cast of characters? And so anytime like anybody makes a parody of like the Grimace, it harkens back to McDonald's, even though the Grimace hasn't really been a part of McDonald's for a really long time.
I still don't understand the verb in this.
You don't know what the Grimace is?
What? No, I know what the Grimace is. That's like, a noun. What are we trying to do? What is Ronald McDonald doing to smaller entities? What's happening here?
First off, the Grimace is a threat.
Well, yeah, and you should. Anytime you see his shakes, pound it. So, it's what. So are we talking about like a large brand interacting with a small brand and that being good or bad? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. And like, is there additional intentionality? Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're a larger brand and you bring up a small one, it's only going to either help them or hurt you. So in a lot of cases, they just don't do it. Because if you have a larger platform, you're sharing your platform at best you're endorsing, at worst you're defaming. So you have to be extra careful anytime you bring up any other person's trademarked property. So you're probably going to get sued regardless of what it is.
I imagine there's like really strict rules, right? There's like you either you buy them and you become a conglomerate, or you never mention another brand unless you already have an agreement with them. Or you're Wendy's you're talking to McDonald's and starting beef.
You can try not to mention competitors directly. Try not to mention competitors directly. You could say our competitors don't know what they're doing, but we do. That's
you don't
fine.
name anybody.
You do not mention other brands. That is a very, very, very bad idea. Just do not. Because
my
you don't
competitor,
want you don't want that kind of fire. You want that kind of heat. Because then suddenly it's going from a creative and a marketing problem to a legal problem, and those guys aren't nearly as nice to play with. So,
all right, I'm gonna warn you. I'm about to make an in-joke, and only the people watching will understand, and I don't expect either of you to understand this. My competitor hosts Nazis, and my competitor has no moderation on their channel whatsoever. But if you come here and you show up here and hang out, not only do we talk about your questions, whether or not you super chat them, but also there's real moderation and educated people having real conversations. I didn't name anybody. You don't know who I'm talking about.
I'm seeing like instances of like Verizon and AT&T, Sega, Nintendo. Yeah, those are instances. Those are risks. You typically do not want to do that. You do want to do the X brand competitor because it's easy and it's safe, and that is the name of the game for a lot of these larger dinosaur brands. Because easy and safe gets people to keep buying your shit because you're the only brand. Like that is
have to do with because like Nintendo and Sega fighting in America is different than Nintendo and Sega arguing with each other in Japan. Or like Nintendo is big enough that they can mention Xbox and nobody fucking cares.
It's tough too because let me see. In this situation, if you're the larger one doing it, no, I think you're great. Yeah, I think you're right. No one's going to really care in a lot of cases. And some places don't actually have like, the same regulations, and even if they did, they may or may not even be enforced.
Right. Right.
In most cases where you actually do see it, it's usually the weaker competitor punching up. So at the time, you might remember the old Apple versus Microsoft commercials with Justin Long as the cool kid.
Yeah.
That was when Apple was coming up. You can't really do that now.
Well, I also imagine that was one of those closed doors, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates shaking hands sort of situations.
Might have been. Absolutely could have been.
Interesting. There's so much to this, but we are past we're coming up, we're to our 30-minute mark, so we should move into the Q&A.
Oh my.
Yeah, we're already there, man. These shows go fast. Stop freaking out. You're like, come back and find out what's wrong with Sam.
I was afraid we were going to talk about TTRPG.
We did it! We succeeded!
No.
We got a couple of questions from the chat, so if you are joining us and you're watching this in the future, the Q&A has been cut out, and you'll have to watch it by becoming a member and doing all that shit. Help us get to 500 subscribers, and we will be right back. See you momentarily. Thank you so much for joining us if you caught us live. If you didn't catch us live, too bad you suck. Haha, tee-hee, too bad. Bye! Hey, welcome back to after the definitely short break that we definitely took to go take a piss and get a drink, which I didn't do. My drink is still empty, and I'm very sad about it. I've been drinking all day because I've been having a bad time. What?
No, all that time? I don't know what else to do with myself.
So there's been a couple of questions from the chat. I just want to scroll up and get them real quick. We had one from... Let me find it. Wendy's Twitter has yet to go suicidal. Good point. True. Hot pretty Wendy's. Sex sells. I think we all are aware of that one.
The Samsung mascot.
Here it is. Smitty had asked... Does it count as marketing if it's the exact same thing but without a company because people do the marketing all day, every day? Yeah.
If you're trying to sell a product and you're trying to elicit something, it's all this time here. Like, where do you think bards came from? You know, if you're playing these games, that's their job. So yeah, it's still marketing. And if you are small, you are still responsible to go learn best business practices and business ethics if you are trying to market something. Just because you're small does not prevent you from being pounded by regulations.
That's true.
If you don't know what an autoresponder is and you're not doing it right and you're just spamming stuff, you're going to get hammered by it and you don't have a lawyer to help you out.
Plus, you also need to know the rules and terms and conditions of wherever you're posting. So if there are
Every
spam
time, yeah.
rules on a social media platform, for example, and you get your stuff taken down, well, congratulations, you've wasted a bunch of your time.
Yeah.
So short answer,
I got nothing
yes.
bad.
Long answer, there are rules, and it's your responsibility to learn what the rules are. Mr. Sirius said, I think the NRA are the largest masters of marketing in America. What do
No,
you...
that's the church.
Which one?
Any of them, pick. Religion.
Fair enough.
Religion is... You want to learn how to master marketing? Religion. Any religion. Untouchable. You have people who are so devoted to your brand, they buy anything you put out. And in fact, they show up to events every week. I mean, fuck. You're making money hand over fist. And even better than that, you're driving awareness and engagement.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. So, like, okay, so both of you have done some marketing in your time. How would you break down what the church did if you exclude, like, the whole crusades part where we force people to buy our brand? Like, clearly you can't really do that now. So what would you do if you were trying to do that?
You hook them when they're young. That's
Yeah, you hook them when they're young and you hook them when they're having kids.
And you
Oh,
nice
no. And how does that apply to business ethics?
Well, the best, most direct form of marketing is called indoctrination, and it tells people that you're the only brand and that you should buy only them. If you want a more direct method to talk about the church, we're gonna go to the early what is it? Jesus Christ, my AP Euro's failing me. The church was selling indulgences pre-schism. I mean, you get these suckers buying that shit because they want to go to heaven. Hell, you can't even guarantee heaven.
You're selling something that
like,
you can't guarantee.
We'll forgive your sins, which is really give us money for nothing. Just give us money and feel better about yourself.
One of these days, we're gonna have to have Sam come on and tell us how he feels about various religions.
I'm doing my best not to right now.
I mean,
Matt's like,
I am very much
and Sam's like, tell me.
You might recognize this bad boy from a certain defense secretary's chest. Yeah, I used to be very much a part of Catholicism.
Yes.
It certainly has changed my life. I think I might change this one into a waffle. But then again, if I need to get past a border checkpoint, I always can pull this bad boy up and be like, hey, I'm a God-fearing Christian. What are you talking about?
Super secret for anybody following this channel that it happens to be watching this right now and won't be able to see it later. I have been talking with the in the background with the Satanists to have them come on and chat with me. The Church of Satan, yeah.
That'd be sick.
They're very interesting. They have a lot of cool points and interesting, like...
Well, they get taxed!
It's like...
They get taxed!
Yeah, it's like counter-marketing at that point. Is counter-marketing a thing that you can do, or is that, like, a no-no? Or is that, like...
What would you think is an example of counter-marketing?
Okay, me, as somebody who doesn't really know much about this, I would say, like, counter-marketing would be to use what the competitor is saying to your benefit as opposed to theirs, and potentially drag
Oh my god,
down.
absolutely.
Okay.
One of the oldest tricks in the book.
All right.
Yeah.
Short answer, yes.
What specifically comes to mind.
Yeah.
Back in it was the late 50s. An ad firm called Leo Burnett had just taken on Volkswagen as a client. Now, post World War II, Volkswagen was not a very good brand to own in the United States for reasons. Now, Volkswagen also was notorious for being a lemon, right? A really shitty car, right? The VW Beetle was not great. But German engineering being what it is, they sought to remove that stigma. Also the fact that they were Nazis. So how do you do that? How do you get people to buy your car? Well, you buy into it. Where everyone else is doing a bunch of car ads that are colorful, and they're very sort of retro looking. You do a black and white picture of your car with the word lemon under it, and then you would explain in great painstaking detail why your car is cheaper, better and faster, and due to that misconception of you, is actually the best choice for you to buy because you have improved upon the feedback that you've been given. It became one of the best-selling cars in the 60s.
The Volkswagen also managed to get itself like into the vernacular, and I think that's a big thing in marketing. So like there was like games of like Punch Buggy, right? And like a lot of people know what that is, right? So yeah, the Love Bug, movies, and there's not very many things that, so like the difference between a Q-tip and Kleenex and what is actually a tissue versus a cotton swab.
Yeah.
That's
or
the things
a
that come
tweet.
to mind. Or a
And
tweet.
a post on a social media site.
And an X.
I have X's, but none of them like me.
Do you have a bad history?
I'm in marketing. Of course I have a bad history. No,
I sold my soul to the devil years ago.
I like most of my exes, actually, in all fairness.
Tom Riddle
but that's because I'm in marketing.
Tom Riddle points out, wouldn't the anti-smoking commercials be counter-marketing?
That's just an awareness campaign.
I think
all marketing is competitive.
Sure. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Because, like, it's, like, less about don't buy cigarettes and more be aware of what cigarettes do if you do buy them. Yeah. Which are ultimately the same message, but the positioning is different.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Matt's making faces, and it's making me uncomfortable.
No, I'm agreeing with all of it. It's fantastic. I'm still thinking about the church references. It's funny.
He's
like
stuck.
Well, I mean, it's like the best lies are the ones you want to believe. That's how you sell stuff. And after that, there's so many like methods that follow it, like sunk cost fallacy and all that stuff. And next thing you know, your credit card's out and you just can't put it away. And that's marketing.
Fair enough. I got a question from the chat from Smitty that says, do corporations still risk losing their copyright if the term becomes the common word? Like a zipper and an escalator, there's no such thing as a Nintendo. Oh
no, my media law. I'm gonna have to. I want to say that is actually a thing. I think that is actually a thing. I would have to look it up. I haven't done that since college, but I remember covering it. That is a thing.
I am the least professional here, and the thing that I remember most recently is that Google was becoming a verb. And Google, the company, was concerned that they could no longer have the copyright Google because everybody was using Google to just mean looking something up with a search engine on the internet. And so because it was becoming a verb, they were going to lose the rights to the brand. And so they changed the name of their company from Google to ABC. I might not be correct about, like, all of the ins and outs of that, but that was just my understanding of what had happened.
Well, I mean, that makes sense, too. Like, if a culture is changing the meaning of something that you have that is a word, but in that instance, your trademarks can change and that sort of thing. It's so... you're in quicksand, but also kind of like almost rug pulling a property. So it's really interesting. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah,
so.
I would say that maybe I'm wrong about this, and please correct me if just to make sure that I imbibe a lot of this information. One of the reasons I like doing this show is because I end up learning a lot, and I just like talking to people about things they care about and picking their brains. This tweeting, right? If you were to tweet something, it meant specifically post on social media, but it also meant specifically on Twitter. If you posted on Facebook, you wouldn't call it a tweet, right?
No, you'd be a square.
You'd be a loser.
You'd be a poser.
So like a posting would there isn't like a post website, but posting would be across social media. You could post on Twitter, you could post on Facebook, you could post on Blue Sky, you can post wherever, but you can't tweet on Facebook. So Twitter wasn't at risk. It didn't have a need to change its name from Twitter to X because of any copyright concerns. They did that because Elon Musk is a moron.
I have
Yes.
conspiracy theories, but yeah.
Outwardly,
just as a comparison. I know I'm being a bit of a dick. I'm being a bit of a hyperbolic.
Outwardly, it's because Elon wanted X for, was it PayPal?
He wanted for PayPal. He does it for space. He likes to call everything X because he's a weirdo.
It's just X.
No, the goal was to tank Twitter.
So you can have a verb.
enough of this. Get out of here. Shoo.
So you can copyright a verb as long as that verb is explicit to your copyright, basically.
You can copy. Okay, so the thing about copyright is you can copyright terms, but not like the meanings or the methods behind them. So copyright isn't even going to like seriously protect you in this case. What I mentioned before was trademark. So that was sort of the when you do trademark, you have to be super specific about the uses. Even where it can be used, on what platforms, in what mediums, that sort of thing. It takes pages and pages of classifications, and it can take you all day to do one trademark. And when something changes, when your product changes, your trademark could be at risk. And if that happens, then it's like part of the bedrock of your company and your brand. So
that's where the brand gets a value from, is recognition, right?
Yeah, it's intellectual property and its entire landscape. So yeah.
Which I imagine is a large landscape.
If all of your legal documents say Google, and suddenly Google doesn't mean what you said it used to mean in all of your contracts, you have a problem.
Oh, so, yeah. No! Yeah, what do you got, Sam?
Oh, just a quick amendment. I remembered the firm was not Leoberdite, it was Bernbach. So I just so someone doesn't call me a fucking idiot for my VW bug knowledge.
Sir, you're on a show called Debate Hub. Welcome to being an idiot.
Yeah. Whatever. I know nothing. I drink the poison. Yeah.
Tom Riddle asks, do you consider it insidious that we have an increase in the use of marketing terms, superfoods, and ancient grains to a more health-conscious consumer base?
Insidious?
That's just good marketing.
Insidious.
That's just good marketing.
That's good marketing, man. It's funny. It is what I'll say. You gotta understand, I guess, making assumptions. So if these people aren't researching things, or they just like glom on to things that sound suddenly wholesome, then that's you playing to your audience.
So you're saying there's like a degree of you have to have a little bit of brain cells as a consumer.
There's rules.
You should.
Too, but
you should just do that. You should do your due diligence.
You should think about things sometimes, probably.
You should think about things, especially if you're putting them in your body. Which I don't. I mean, I'm drinking Coke Zero right now, so.
Sam has never once put anything in his body.
No, I at this point I'm essentially a homunculus for spite and arthritis that exists in my toe.
I would ask a follow-up to Tom and to you guys as well. Would that apply to calling a food organic? Pretty much all things you consume are organic by necessity, unless you're breaking something down to like having a calcium pill.
That is disingenuous ways of circumventing regulations. That's what's happening.
Yes.
It's not necessarily marketing. You're looking at people who are trying to more or less sneak things past what used to be called the FDA. So that's like using natural flavors. And when it's like, oh yeah, it's natural palm oil. I'm not allowed to talk about palm oil.
So there's like more than one thing necessarily going on at once. So like calling something a superfood or saying something is good for you, but if you look at the fine print, it's not necessarily the marketing, it is subterfuge for something else. It is regulations, it is navigating.
Yes, but it's also not unrelated, because again, it is entirely used in the marketing. It's like, it's like when they had vitamin water come out and they're like, oh, it's literally just sugar and water, man. That's all it is. They just called it that. And
Yeah.
The degree of regulation is going to also become part of it. So it's technically marketing because it's sales, and it does influence people to lead with their dollars in certain ways. But yeah, it is also at the same time ways of moving around a system that may or may not regulate such things.
Oh yeah,
So,
I should also pull a Sam and correct myself. Sorry, the company name wasn't Google didn't change its company to ABC. It changed its name
Alphabet.
to Alphabet, and now
Alphabet.
everybody's gonna call
Yep.
me an idiot. But too bad, it's my show. Alex, wants to sort of like, this is a more general question. Why is it that every time I hear about something that shouldn't have worked if the public wasn't informed, it fucking works precisely because the public was not in fact informed?
What's an example of that?
If you're selling something based on like it being like healthy for you and like healthy, so let me take like Prime, the drink.
Oh,
It
sure.
says like it's got all this shit for you and that it's better, and it's definitively not. But the reason people don't know it's definitively not is because, one, it's marketed towards younger people without being marketed at children, and also like people are just not informed about this level of like sports drinks. Like people don't, your average person doesn't really understand like even what an electrolyte is. But an electrolyte is a selling
Salt.
point, right? Yeah, well, I know that, and you know that. Our
Marketing.
audience knows that. They're smart, they know, but
And my subclass
everyone else
in-
is stupid.
I know.
But go on, yeah. That would be like an example I would give.
Okay.
The fucking Lunchables that are definitely not Lunchables, and also Lunchables that are
Lunchly?
healthy for you. Yeah, Lunchly and shit. Yeah.
Well, it's not the same guys, you know. They're
Yes.
gonna. Someone said that Mr. Beast is not a skilled marketer because he only targets kids, and I gotta say,
Sounds wrong.
No,
I-
I've studied Mr. Beast. His stuff it is calculated and dialed in. All of
yeah,
his-
I don't know if I
very
agree with
meticulous
that.
and well
necessarily.
studied.
I would actually almost
Yeah.
put out that Mr. Beast is so calculated and mathematical about what he's doing is that it's unsettling if you're paying attention.
Yeah, it really
Yeah,
is.
absolutely.
Also, chocolate bars.
You know who's not paying attention?
Kids?
You know who's not paying attention? His fucking audience.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. He's
Sure.
like, I put 10 million people on a boat and they're all poor. Let's see which one of them wins in a shiv fight. And then you'll watch because you're eating a lunchly or you're eating dinner and you want something to drone on in the background because we've been sold to the point where we always need noise happening all the time. And they even sold that to us. They being them.
All right. Okay.
So-
Maybe this brings to me a question: is how much of a cultural pro and con is there in marketing? If you're talking about America specifically, so does America have a marketing problem?
Yes.
No, because technically, if you're
Yes.
looking at it as a problem, America is doing exactly what America is designed to do. You are
Okay, I
100%
suppose if you're gonna flip the question
consumers.
like that, you jackass, I guess that is
No, but
correct.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Operating
You
as
are
it's not a
bought and
it's not
sold
a bug,
and
it's a
owned.
Fine.
feature.
The marketing,
No,
the way that
no, it's not a
marketing is
feature. You're doing
practiced in
exactly
America
what it's
by
supposed to
large
be.
corporations is a problem for its people.
And even on a granular level, marketing itself has a problem because people who use marketing think they can beat the pros at marketing, and they can't because they're told the game is even if everyone knows it's rigged and you think that you're on the rigged side, you're not.
Oh no. Oh, so it's like you're not only are you singularly fucked as a consumer, but even if
Yeah.
you are not considered the consumer, you're still actually a consumer.
Everyone's
You
a
just don't know
consumer.
it.
You yourself as a consumer did not do the due diligence to understand that you are a king mark. So that's what it is.
There's one born every minute. Are you just scamming me right now?
I don't know. You want to buy something?
Yeah, we have shit to sell.
Well, speaking of
Have you
which,
seen my store?
what shit? Yeah, what shit do you wanna shill? If anything, this is a good time to throw it in there.
Sure.
Yeah,
How
go for
angry
it.
are you right now? What kind of flag do you want? Just
How angry do you want to make other people? What kind of flag do you want?
That's pretty much what I got. So I got I don't even advertise my store. So when people like my thing is just pure SEO, and it's like anytime I see like a protest or something like that, my mailbox blows up because people want flags that demonstrate how angry they are. I just happen to make them.
So you don't
That's
even
it. I
have
can't
to do the
advertise them
rage
because
baiting.
they're
Culture is
No,
doing
no,
the rage baiting for you.
I'm not allowed to advertise them because they're covered in obscenities. But you can Google them. So I don't have to do anything about it. Like, go to gemfirefly.com right now and you will find a fuck around and find out flag of your flavor. Unless it's no, I still have red. So you will find one that might connect with you, and for $40, I will ship it to you.
If my audience was gonna buy anything, it would be a flag that says "fuck around and find out." I mean, now I want one.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's got a gator on it that I made. There's also I got the Gadsden snake. So if you're with that and you want the "Don't Tread on Me" or the more popular "Don't Tread on Anybody" on a progressive LGBT flag. Yeah, those.
Yeah,
fucking crushing it. So,
Matt's tapped in.
Shesh.
Matt's tapped in. He's got his
Shesh,
thumb on you.
As your good friend, I would like to say that these flags are of very high quality. In fact, I would say that I would recommend them to anybody, really.
You got one of these? You got like a no 51st?
It was already saturated, and I stopped making stuff. Like all the things, all these designs and stuff that I made in 2020. Like
yeah.
That's when I was super.
You're just coasting at this point.
Had the energy. It's just sitting there. That's why I'm like the top of Google for it, because it's the oldest thing for it. I invented them. So so now it's like, all right, cool. And I haven't made a design in 2 years.
And we know we trust
It's a design
Sam.
store.
And Sam, like, we got a good design. We're sold on the design, and Sam's out here saying they're high quality. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Matt also sells shirts, of which I own many, which are quite soft and comfortable and last a while in the wash.
It's okay. Wait until the audience figures out that you just told us that you're the guy who invented the "fuck around and find out" flag gator.
I am.
Yeah. They haven't noticed yet.
100% am.
they didn't notice. Oh my god.
Yeah, people talk about it. It's like, yeah.
That's me.
Number one Google for a reason. I invented it. It's okay. Yeah.
Oh my god. And the best thing is about this one is that you're only getting this after the fact if we manage to monetize this channel and you happen to pay money to see it. Because we didn't announce that one early. Because that's not the selling point.
Zero in marketing for it. That's the best part. Which is a little counterproductive to our talk here, but at the same time, it's like I got a mug with a guillotine made of flowers. If you like that, that's my favorite.
That's
yeah.
Really
I also have
good.
one of Matt's mugs, and I drink from it every day. It holds liquid.
It sure does.
It holds liquid. The best selling point of a mug, it holds liquid. Quality.
You heard it here.
I love stuff like this. I think it's really interesting because there's so much you can do from both just like a word of mouth and also from like the there's almost like a degree of cloak and dagger subterfuge that goes on with it that's almost like interpersonal politics. It's not like, there's world politics and that's whatever. But like interpersonal politics of who you're talking about, what you know about them, how you like slide in pieces of information and how natural it feels or seems, or how much you start to learn about who you're talking to and being like, oh, you would like this, oh, you would like that. I mean, a lot of gamers just do that amongst themselves, being like, hey, what games would I like? And then people are telling them, try this, try this, try this. And like all that is just natural. That doesn't have any necessarily like manipulative factors to it.
Well, it's again that's social proofing, and again that goes back to sharing memes, because like people share things that they think is going to help other people. That's one of the other virtues of some of the content. So it's like, oh, I found this really fun. I'm going to share it. It makes me look like I'm smart, but also it's like, maybe I'm helping someone with it. And if you can get that kind of good energy behind your marketing, trust, that is the good side of marketing. And I don't think, people cover that at all. Like the best instance of that is if you make yourself the brand and you're actually a genuine person. It's going to take you a lot longer to grow because you're probably not gamifying the algorithm and doing all this noise and garbage that is required on these platforms. But when you do land someone who actually believes in you and you stand up for what it is that you believe in and you deliver on your messages, your brand is way more powerful and it will last forever. That's quality marketing.
Yeah, that is definitely a quality thing, but I think there's another layer to that too, and it's sustainability. There's like a degree of if you have a solid base that is built on consistency. Now, and eventually those things can fracture if you start falling out of it, but that sustainability, that plateau, is to me, I think it's valuable.
The cool thing about never lying is you don't have to remember anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm an artist. It is literally my job to lie to you. If I do art, it's my job to convince you that this line on a piece of paper fucking means something.
Well, we mean like sexual assault, but go off, I guess. Yeah. Just don't do any scandal type shit.
Yeah. No, I was being hyperbolic, but yeah. I
was being hyperbolic. And literal.
I'm being called out on my own stream for sexual assault right now. What the fuck?
I know you, Chesh. Cheshual assault.
Don't do this to me. So is there really a difference between quality and sustainability, or is sustainability like a subset of quality?
Sustainability.
So like if something is sustainable, like is it?
It depends. What are we sustaining? The energy of you to continue to be a brand, or like the energy that goes into managing such a thing, or are you like unsustainable like coal, clean
the image of the
brand?
Like the image of the brand, or like the trustworthiness of the brand.
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean, like Matt said, if you put in the time to make a good product and to present sort of a lieless image, it does help. If you build it, they will come and all that, but it doesn't guarantee success. Fair. Right? Yeah. There's still going to be a lot of roadblocks in your way when you do that, because other people are playing the game correctly, and they're much more likely to win.
Well, and we
because
already agree
the
that
cards are stacked in their favor.
Yeah, it's not a fair.
Yeah, it's just, it is what it is. And even if you know you're going to lose and you still do it anyways, who knows? Maybe you will go viral. Maybe you will make something so good that Shark Tank invests in it or whatever. I don't know. If you find that goodwill and you find that base of people who will consistently buy your product, and you somehow manage to get full guerrilla word of mouth alone, you might become a sensation. Who knows? Maybe it'll be worth it. Maybe it won't. But at the end of the day, we're all gonna die. So do it the right way.
I have an idea in my brain that is, and you tell me if you think I'm wrong, but the idea is that the concept is that you can tell what the internet's not going to like, but you can't tell the internet what it's going to like. So you can make anything and the internet's it will like it. But if the thing you're making is punching cats, the internet is not gonna like punching cats.
Well, okay. You can't influence the internet. So
I'm not talking about influencing the internet. I'm saying that there is a history that exists that we can pull from, that the internet historically does not like animal abuse, for example. But if you're doing something that does not involve something that we know that the internet does not like, you can't tell them what it's going to enjoy.
So make whatever you want to make. Trying to make fetch a thing? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, make whatever it is that you want to make, because you don't know what's going to catch on.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's ultimately
be true to yourself.
If you're making something, you should know who it's for and who is going to catch on to it. That's basic marketing analysis. You are required to understand who your customer is, where they are, how you can reach them, and just how much they're willing to pay for it, and a general idea of how much you're going to make with your marketing campaign. Like, if you're not doing any of that, then you're kind of just gambling.
Winging it, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't ever recommend.
Fair enough.
So,
Unless, I feel like that's a hobby at that point. If you're just winging it, it's a hobby.
Yeah. This is why I'm glad we didn't talk about TTRPGs.
Oh my god. Well,
its own beast.
We are past the hour mark. I wanted to thank you both for joining us. And you did still... One of you shilled your shit, but the other one is not shilled your shit. Shill your shit, Sam.
Oh, yeah, I have a book. If you like shitty...
Speaking of TTRPGs...
Ideas. Yeah, you can buy that. Speaking of coasting, you can buy that book I made like 3 years ago. It's got like 300 ideas in it. I don't even remember.
Are we still shilling things that are like around the pandemic still? It's like,
what year is it? Nobody knows.
I have yet to make something actionable.
Time stopped in 2020.
In such a way that I can start shilling it, as it were. But yeah, if you like rolling dice, or if you were writing a book and you want ideas for characters, 1, follow me on Blue Sky, and 2, buy the book. It's like $7.50. I don't know, man.
It's less than $10.
Or if you want a hardcover copy,
are there tariffs on your book
too? Probably. Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe
I don't
printing.
think so. I don't think there's tariffs on books because they don't expect anyone to read.
They don't expect them.
But
boom, you can get a physical copy. Wow, that's amazing.
Even if you don't do any of that stuff, you should buy the book just because it's a conversation starter.
It is.
Like, just put it, assuming you're the type of person to have company over to your home.
Friends.
You know, that's a coffee table book. People, it's got a great cover, and the name of it alone, someone is going to crack it open, and then you will end up talking about it for the next hour, and it pays for itself.
Yeah. And that's what we call word of mouth.
My Unfinished Journey said, it's easy to guarantee failure. Guaranteeing success, fair enough. Speaking of TTRPGs, really quick.
You don't guarantee success. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah. Speaking of TTRPGs, I'm going to be doing a live Let's Play, but it is not Dungeons & Dragons. It is, in fact, Star Trek. So if you're interested in Star Trek, I am going to be the Cation Cat Lady Captain. That is on a channel called Top Hats Off, and we are starting this Friday. Will be the very first episode. So there's already a trailer out. Go and check it out. I did the art for it, mixed with Dapper. I'm also doing the production, so I am going to be a busy fucking bee on Fridays. Pray for me. Thoughts and prayers. Thank you very much. Tomorrow I'm also going to have Chris Shelton on here to talk about Trumpism, and that'll be a grand old time. I'm sure, with any luck, these two will be back. Yeah. So I'm gonna bully Sam.
Cover like the last week.
I'm gonna have.
What did I do?
I'm gonna have to bully Sam into coming on and talking to me about his religious journey.
Oh, please! I can go off on my religious journey. Jesus
and I'm gonna
Christ.
have to bully Matt into coming on and telling me a review about A&W, Canadian A&W specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta figure that out.
I grew up with American.
Figure it out? You mean order A&W? What do you mean figure it out?
I leave my house. I don't do that.
Yeah, he's a fucking hermit.
He's like, I am not one of those people that needs a coffee table book. Thank you very much.
No, I don't. That's why I had to specify, because that's just me being like, if you're one of these people that I don't know anything about anymore.
Icarus says.
The last person I saw was Sam. That's
yeah, wow.
Icarus says, thoughts and live long and prosper. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Like and subscribe. Help us get to that 500 and get us monetized over on this channel. Greatly appreciated. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye. Say goodbye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.